Hello. Hello captions. Are you going to work today? There we go. It's alright. I didn't see the captions appear on the first hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my table. As you can tell, it's going to be another build stream, which means that I don't have a face cam. It's just kind of a pain to have a face cam at the right angle. Unless I had another tripod over there, and honestly, my second face cam isn't great anyway, so just my hands this time. Probably not going to do the, like, turn the camera to face me thing that I've been doing just because of what we're building today, which we're going to get to in a minute, but I just wanted to start out with, obviously this is after my vacation to Portland. I just want to do a quick, what do we call it? The purchase thing. I are responsible adults, as Johnny would say. Just show you guys the souvenirs that we got, and I'll start out actually with this. It's a little hard to see. The shading seems to be weird on this camera today for some reason. This is a Dragon's Blood Jasper bracelet that we found at a crystal store. Joe got more crystals than this, but she asked me if I found something I liked. I found this guy, which stays on better than any of these type of bracelets that I've had. Maybe it's the contrast is too high. Maybe I can try and turn down contrast a bit, maybe. Oh man, the contrast is pretty high. Goodness. Not too much, but you can see a little better, but also, you know, just because of where my light is, I've got a shadow. But yeah, I got that guy. A couple of models, and this was the thing I talked about on Twitter. I got a couple of Gunpla models. I'm getting entry grade, and they go so quickly that it's like, it's just a thing I want to keep to myself. Like, I think this took me like 20 minutes. This Gyarados. I think they're coming out with a Bulbasaur, and I really want that. But, yeah, it's a Gyarados, a little stand. And they, you know, these just snap together. There's no painting, there's no glue. And even, like, they even specifically make them really weak on the sprues, so it's really easy to just snap them off and get them free. The problem is I'm running out of space over here because I have so much other stuff. And this is the other one I got, the RX-78-2, if I remember right. It's something like that. It's like your basic Gundam. I like that they're actually like posable action figures after you put them together. Like that was kind of the thing that made it more interesting to me, that it's not just... Oh, just the arm came out of the socket. Fair. It's not just like, you've made a model, it doesn't move. You can actually play with it as a toy and get a base for it and stuff. So this is like the basic color one, because I got one... actually, let me grab it. It's just right behind me. Yeah, it's a little crooked. There's this one I got from Target that I'm picking up now, like locally at Target. It's this Murica one with stars and stripes and all sorts of silliness. But I wanted like the original color too, so I'd seen this one. Actually, I wound up getting this one off Amazon, but I found this one in Portland, and we'll talk about that when I, you know, start doing the main build and extol about Portland and everything therein. Yeah, this sword doesn't like hold in his hand very well. I'm probably gonna change the weapon out, put the swords back in his back. But when I was putting this guy together, specifically this piece here, I somehow moved the leg weird and this completely snapped. So I wound up buying another one of these guys. That's because it's like part of Gunpla. It's in the same like family. You can just swap parts around and even make your own like custom Gundam that way. Man, I just started burning for some reason. So yeah, I got one of these specifically just to replace that part, and then I have the rest of the second one of these still on the sprue in case anything else on either of these breaks, so I can just swap them out. So I didn't realize how like different the white is on both of them. Like, that's strange to me. It's not just the same color. Also, yeah, I was really excited about the beam sword for these, but they don't hold very well. It doesn't like fill the hand and doesn't like fill the peg the way you would think it would. Anyway, so that was a thing I've been getting into, but I'm keeping that's a thing I'm just gonna do on the side. That's a, you know, just a me thing. It's a very large table, and I have the mouse and keyboard over here. So, at a bookstore, again, we'll talk about this in more detail. We found these cool bookmarks. This way. It's all starlings or something like that. It's on birds. And then a Roll with Pride pin from Cantrip Candles and Paola's Pixels. I don't know if this is going to replace one on my hat or if I'm just going to put this on my denim jacket or what, but I will definitely be wearing this. I just want to keep it on the card so you guys can see the whole card. Speaking of Pride and dice, we'll just crack that open. I don't know how well this is going to come across because, you know, webcam, but yeah, I got a whole set of 7 transparent dice full of pan Pride flags. These are probably not the most balanced, but, you know, what die is? 13. Very nice. I think it would have been fun if the inking was, you know, the different colors, but that's also something I could do. I could go in and I have, like, colors that would match that. And then Joe also grabbed me these in this very cool tin. Very actually, like, you see the dragon right on the 20, or I guess the 100 if you really wanted it. Pretty sure these are mine. We have like 2 sets that are identical, but these are, I don't know how well that comes across, but they almost look like amethyst crystals because they're very dark on one side and a lot lighter purple on the other. With some gold inclusions, silver paint. Very cool. Let's see, what else we got here? I picked up some books because we did go to a bookstore. Again, we'll talk about this in a minute. I got this one because Woody recommended it. And this is one that's been sitting in my recommendation or my Amazon wish list forever. Finally jumped on it. Oh, I didn't realize how scuffed up this cover was getting right there, but that's fine. So I'm not like super picky about must be perfect condition. I got Sid Meier's memoir to go with The Sierra Adventure and to go with Not All Fairy Tales. I picked this up because I had this a long time ago, back when I thought Halo was cool and back before 343 had it. This very neat graphic novel with a bunch of shorts. It's kind of like the Animatrix in a way, in that it's a bunch of shorts, not like one full comic, and it's done by a bunch of different artists. And it's a bunch of cool poster, like full page arts in the back. And then I finally picked up, this is an adventure on its own. I picked up the next part of Saga. I'm not flipping through this because I haven't read this yet. I'm meaning to, but I haven't read it yet. But like, I fell in love with this comic, and then it went hiatus for like 2.5 years because of pandemic. And well, I think he was planning to take a break anyway, but then the pandemic happened, and it wound up being like a 2-year break waiting for this to continue, and they ended on a huge cliffhanger. So it's kind of a bummer. But I know that's not why y'all are here today. It wasn't to see the various books and toys and whatnot that I found. It's to see me build some Lego. And that's the one we're building. This one, I saw this online when I was looking for something else and said, ooh, there's new flowers. These are gorgeous. I need these. So it's a Wildflower bouquet, which also means it doesn't stand on its own. This actually does not have a vase. It doesn't have like a pot that's built with it. You actually put it into its own, like you supply a vase, but then you can buy more flowers and like make your own bouquets out of the flowers, which I think it's a really cool idea. So yeah, let's get started. So if you didn't know, by the way, Joe and I took a trip to Oregon because it's a thing we've wanted to do for a while. These 4 bags. There's a 3. And we finally just like, we had the money and we had the opportunity. So we just said, screw it. We are going to take this trip that we've been dreaming about for a long time. Oh, interesting. Stems for everything. Not even numbered. Oh, another 3. That's actually off screen. 2 3 bags. Oh, found our instructions and more bags. Here's 1. And here's the big one for 4. And that's everything. Very pretty booklet. Let me just get the positioning right here. You guys can see the booklet as I build. I like to have it right in the corner there. Oh. Oh, that's cool. So apparently they're going to start shifting to paper bags instead of plastic. That's very good. And then we have the designer. And that's really it. Ooh. Fantastic. I really prefer the teal to the orange for the you know, the brick separator. So having another teal for the collection is pretty great. I mean, I would be down to have more of any of them, really. So it looks like we're making Welsh poppies, cow parsley, and leather leaf fern. Like these are the leaves for leather leaf fern. These will be the petals for the poppy. And all of these little guys looks like they make up the cow parsley. And it's so cool that they actually have like details about each flower, like the real flowers. The little things that I appreciate every time. It only has me grabbing 2 stems for now, but let's keep that off to the side. So yeah, we went last 2 Wednesdays ago, actually, technically. Forgot there was like a week in between. Or, you know, like it's been almost a week since we've been there now. Sadness. I want to be back. So Tuesday night, I think that was the 7th, if I remember right. Yeah, it was the 7th. That was a whole adventure because if you saw on social media, I went looking for parking and found out that locally I could park in our parking garage for $60-something, something like that. And it says like 7 days no reserve. Cool, no problem. Oh, we're doing this 3 times. Oh, because this doesn't actually... Interesting. Okay. Since we're doing it 3 times, I'm just going to build out 3 of them at once. Sorry, trying to get my brain together while I do this. So we park the car at the parking garage, which we paid for. And I tell them, like, hey, we're going to be parked for 7 days because my lot has a thing, specifically that if you're parked in the lot, if you're parked in the lot and a snowstorm happens, they reserve the right to tow you so they can plow the lot. But if I'm not here when they decide to plow the lot, what do I do? Like, at that point, I'm just stuck with no, you know, because I can't exactly fly home just to move my car and then fly back. That would be exhausting and very expensive. So we try and tell them, and they're basically like, find someone to move it for you, or we're just going to tow you anyway. It's like, all right, fine. So we park in this garage. I put in that we're going to be there for a week, you know, like, you know, we'll be back on the 14th at about this time. We're like, cool. It's going to be $300. It's like, what about the $60-something I already paid? So it's just like, I think we already were attempting to get a lift at that point, but the lift never actually showed up. So we canceled the lift. drove home, just parked it near the back, and just went, you know what? We are just going to park it here, hope for the best, and thankfully no snow happened while we were gone, so it worked out, but it was so frustrating to have, you know, the landlords basically go, no. You find someone who's going to drive to our town at 8 a.m. right after a snowstorm, if it happens, to move your car for you. Or we're just going to tow you anyway. It's like, cool. So we figured whatever it would cost, if something had happened, whatever it would cost to get our car back from being towed would be cheaper than paying $300 in this garage. So we drive it home, we get it parked, try Lyft again. And after like 5 or 6 minutes that hasn't even found a Lyft, we just said screw it and canceled the Lyft and got an Uber, and Uber had someone there in 3 minutes. Like, had found someone within a minute or two and had them in our driveway, I think within 5 minutes. Like, comparatively, it was ridiculous. Sorry, I live in an apartment building and someone slammed a cabinet or something, but it was loud enough that it sounded like it was my cabinet in my apartment. So then we got to Boston. Whoa, Jimbo, thank you for the resub. So we got to Boston, checked into our hotel, and Amy, one of our D&D party members, who have to do it out loud, but at least in your head, will give a good get well soon. She, while we were in Boston, or after we got back from Boston, she suffered an injury, so hope she's feeling better soon. But she gave us a ride to Santarpio's in Boston, a pizza place, delicious pizza place. One of those, they've been doing pizza for almost 100 years kind of situation. Sorry, I keep pulling this close to me, which I know is, not where the camera is, but I can't get a good angle with the camera. I've said it before, I need a better overhead rig for these. But I haven't found the rig that, works for me. Okay, so this goes here. Wait. This goes here, and then there's a green piece. Sorry, again. Apologize when I build things too close to myself and you don't see them. Just put them close where I can see, but then I don't have the camera. Anyway, we get to hang out with Amy, we get to hang out with Matt, another member of our D&D party. And it's a, great little send-off. To just, get a chance to see a couple friends and have some good pizza. The hotel was fine. I think the only problem we had with the hotel was just the it was the creakiest elevator we've ever been on. And for how high-end the hotel is it's a Hilton, it was a little weird that it was the loudest possible as possible elevator, but it was fine. We had a nice view of the runway, actually, for as little as that mattered, because it was dark by the time we got there, and it was still dark when we left. But or at the very least, when we left the hotel room, it was still dark. Because we left at about we left the hotel room about 5 because our flight was at 7. So you make 21 of these. So I'm just gonna fire them all up. So got to Logan, went through security, which was fine, honestly. I was expecting security to be way worse than it was. I think it's just because You hear so many people complain about airport security, but it was fine. I mean, it is maybe a little ridiculous that we still have to take our shoes off to get scans because one person tried it once upon a time. But there's a bunch of stuff that gets tried all the time in America, and we don't do anything about it. But that's a different story for another day. My hands are gonna get so cramped doing this. You know, went through airport security fine. Hung around Logan until it was time to get on our flight. Joe and I did first class the whole way, specifically for comfort, because we had heard that the most comfortable flights, or the most comfortable planes were from JetBlue. And it turns out the closest we could get to Portland or Boston to fly to Portland or Seattle even, JetBlue, we would have actually needed to go to JFK in New York City, and that makes no sense. So that's like an 8-hour journey to take us like a 6 or 7 hour flight for a little bit of comfort. So we just Delta first class. And I think Delta's had like labor issues, I think. So, and I don't think it's the best choice, but I don't know if I'd go on another airline because they were great to us, honestly. Like, check-in on the plane was super easy, getting off the plane was super easy. And every flight attendant we had in both flights were super nice. Like, customer service-wise, they nailed it. Like, 2 thumbs up for Delta. The food wasn't amazing, I'll say. So our first flight was direct Boston to Seattle, so it was like a 6-hour flight where they told us we were getting lunch and then they served us breakfast, which was confusing because, you know, the app had us pick lunch entrees and then we didn't get a lunch entree. We got a breakfast entree. And I got charcuterie. If you were in the game day last night, you heard me say this. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you weren't there last night, charcuterie was just like some random veg to go with it. 2 little wedges, maybe like this big of cheddar, like a mild cheddar. 2 little about the same size wedges of something a lot sharper and a lot funkier, like a Parmesan or something. None of this was labeled. I need to emphasize, none of this was like labeled or were we informed what it was. And then it had meat, but it was literally just like deli meat slices, like someone opened a thing of ham that you bought at the grocery store and just slapped it down. And I thought it was ham and Joe thought it was turkey, so I actually don't know which one it was. It might have been ham, it might have been turkey, it's hard to say. Alright, we got 2 of these, so we're gonna do them at once. Rather than doing one and then doing the other. Oh wait, no, it looks like it's this darker one, not this brighter teal one. Not teal, but like a lime green. I think it's closer to this like leaf green. So yeah, Joe had gotten like a bread pudding, and it was like looked like one bite, and went, I fucked up. You got the better meal. I should have gotten that instead of what I got. It's just, that's actually really good. This is what all these are for. Got it. So yeah, like other than that, basically at that point after that meal, I basically just started eating at the airport whenever I could. So, you know, I had a really good burger on the way back out. I had some pretty decent, like, fried cheese curds in Minneapolis. Like, you know, chances to try the local food. But that's at the end. So, you know, got through the Seattle flight, which I didn't like a big long flight. And part of it was just that I never got up. I never needed the bathroom, so I just stayed in my seat the whole time. Plus, like, especially the first half of the flight, we encountered a lot of turbulence, which Delta doesn't call turbulence anymore. Welcome, Web, hello. Found out. Well, the thing I just said. Delta doesn't call it turbulence anymore. They always say rough air. Every time they say rough air, which to me was like, do people not know what turbulence is called? We had to PC turbulence. Okay. Like, I'm okay with like, sometimes language is bad and we need to make it nicer. I will agree with that fact. But like turbulence is is so bad that we needed to clean that term up. Just made me laugh. Every time they were like, we may be experiencing rough air. Because, you know, it's in every safety thing, which by the time you're on your fourth flight, you've heard 4 times. Oh, have they? I have not been on a plane since 1997. So that's where I'm at on that. I went to Florida as a 5th grader in 97. Oh yeah, it's on the videos as well. The video doesn't say turbulence, it says rough air. Okay, that's what these are for. So yeah, so it was just the fact that I was just sitting for so long without getting up, which is like enough that like I probably should have gotten up, but I never like needed the bathroom, so I never stood up because we were experiencing turbulence for good chunks of the flight, honestly. Like they were drifting further and further north to try to avoid it, but it wasn't entirely working. Oh, nope, I missed this tab. Also, this is very fuzzy. Also, it specifically points out this is a hubcap that's in the center of this flower. Sorry, I'm holding it to me again. There is one of the actual buds for this flower, and that's actually like a hubcap that they repurposed. And these palm leaves came from the pirate sets in the 90s and stuff like that. Actually, we'll do this in the correct order. So yeah, maybe like, you know, very quick walk in Seattle Airport because we were like 3 gates away, and I think we only sat there for 20 minutes, half an hour before they were reboarding us. But they also reboarded us onto like a little Learjet kind of thing. I think it's actually like an Ever, but basically a Learjet. Which wasn't my favorite either, just because, you know, since it didn't have to go very high, it didn't. This is what our 2 stems were for. So, you know, it was just, again, it was just another choppy flight. I think I was just so exhausted at that point. So we finally touched down in 2 of these. Okay. We finally touched down in Portland, which I think may have been the longest airport we had to deal with the entire time. Because they parked us like as far back as possible. I feel like maybe we also took a wrong turn because we ended up walking through like a whole shopping area, because airports just are full of shopping areas and airports or and restaurants and things like that. So it was like it felt like we walked a mile, because like to get to rent a car, we were just going up corridors and down corridors. And where is that piece? Oh, there's. You know, I think we went up and down like 4 or 5 escalators that just kept sending us further down, back up again. Like it was such a nightmare to navigate this airport. Get to the rental car spot, where we find out, one, it's a big pain that I'm the one who signed up when I don't have a license, even though I specifically put like, this is the licensed driver, like this is their name, this is their information. So I grabbed Joe's info. So I have like 10 of these to build, which are not hard, but there's just a lot. 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10. Oh, no, wait. No, I just need all of them. I just need to put the little white buds on every single one of these. Got it. Okay. Welcome to the tedium. Assumptions in system creation. Yeah, and the other assumption was that we had a credit card. You guys had never told me until we got there that if we used a debit card, which is literally all we don't have a credit card, that they would have to do a $500 hold on our card until the car came back. Which at this point, like, we were on a plane for 6 hours, got maybe half an hour tops break. We're on a plane for another hour. Had to walk through a mile of airport, try to rent the car, and then find out, oh, by the way, we're going to hold on to 500 of your money while you're on vacation until you give the car back. Like, I hate you so much right now. Like, it wouldn't have been a problem if there was... Yeah, it wouldn't have been a problem if it was literally listed anywhere during the rental process. But apparently they didn't figure out until they had the card in hand that it was a debit card to, you know, give us a warning about stuff like that. So anyway, so we get the card. They tell us, you know, you're in this spot, you know, number whatever. It might have been 365. I feel like it was something like that. We'll just call it 365 for, you know, shits and giggles. So we get to, you know, and then also it's one more escalator. As Hertz is on the second floor apparently at PWM. PWM, is that ours? I don't even remember anymore. PDX, sorry, PDX. PWM is our Portland. So we get to the top, you know, or get to where our car is, and there's a Mitsubishi little crossover, because it's like that. We wanted something more like an SUV, one more space. Actually, for a while, the cheapest option was actually an electric car, but by the time we actually committed to, like, okay, we have the money now, we need to put down for this rental car, the cheaper option was to get like a electric was no longer they've hitched for a moment since captions also blanked. The captions will just blank sometimes. I don't see any drop frames or anything. If something hitched, I apologies, but sometimes the captions just decide to erase themselves. It's a little bit of funkiness with the GitHub thing that I use for captions. Because I know that there's one that's supposedly better, but you have to use Chrome. Which technically I do. I guess I could use that one, but I've just gotten so used to this one, and it feels like it's lighter because I just open a Chrome tab and it's literally just a blank page with with just these captions generating, essentially. And I use Chrome just because it sometimes likes to like randomly like lock up a browser for a little bit, and I normally use Edge. Anyway, so we get there, a little Mitsubishi crossover sitting in the spot, and the windshield and both front windows both have the words "no key" written on them in, you know, powder paint or whatever, you know, the paint that they you know, like car dealerships draw prices usually on cars. That's like, cool. So not only have we, you know, in real planes, trains, and automobile situation, not only have you taken more than double the price of the car in a hold fee to make sure that we actually have the money that we've already spent and you've already taken, as far as I knew. You know, because we paid like a week or so in advance. It was a pay now kind of thing. But now you're going as a car doesn't work. And we found an attendant, because I was about to storm back down there and go, hey, we can't take this car. It doesn't have a key. Why did you just give us a spot? The car has no key. But the attendant told us that, like, because we were in a certain section, we could take any car we wanted. So we just took, like, the closest approximation, which was a Mazda CX-5, which after some growing pains, because it has a lot of, it just has more advanced systems than we're used to. We use comparatively a very dumb car. We drive a Dodge Avenger, it's not a car they make anymore. It still just has a basic radio and doesn't have any like extra sensors. It doesn't have a big screen radio kind of thing. It's just super simple. It just has a clock. It can't keep time because it's a freaking Dodge. It's amazing how bad it is at keeping time. I am one little rosette short. Unless it's under something or has fallen or something. I don't think I doubled up any of them. None of them look like I doubled it up. I didn't accidentally double up on that. None of that would have had it. I don't see it on the floor. Might have stayed in the bag would be the next question. Not that I see. Not in the box. It might just be a rosette short. That's annoying. I mean, I might find it as we clean up and stuff, but I don't see it around anywhere. That's annoying. I don't know. I did it right. I don't. Yeah, I've got one of these tips, which I don't need, but I don't have the little rose that I do need. I mean, knowing me, I dropped it somehow, but I don't see it currently, so. Alright, well. Shall we just move on and, oops, sorry. Need be, I just like pick a brick it, which would be annoying because it would be like $6 or $7 shipping for a 30-cent Lego piece. I mean, I have other Lego pieces I could probably grab, but at the same time, but still. All right. So now all of these got friends. And I don't think I need to do this in a particular order, especially because their flowers are gonna, they're gonna be a little uneven anyway. That was another one, but that one dropped. I saw that one drop and proceeded to vanish on me. Dropping more stuff because it's not one of my build videos unless I've dropped something. So I'll have to be on the lookout when I put this table away for some of these little rosettes. It's fine. Anyway, we're finally in Portland. We have our car, which was honestly a really nice car. And it's one of those, like, when we need another car, if we have the money, it's tempting to get one of those, because we actually really liked it by the end. I was like, at first it was a little jarring just because we weren't used to all the alerts that the car had, all the different ways the car would beep at us if we're like across a line somewhere or what have you. Oh, okay. Silly thing when it's not like in the pages, it's not, because I would feel a lump. Okay. So we decided initially we were going to, I haven't done the thing for this yet. We were going to check out Washington Square Mall. One, because the Airbnb we had gotten had actually I don't know if that's on the same one. Push comes to shove. We gotten bath bombs, or we gotten an Airbnb with a soaking tub, so we wanted to get bath bombs so we could like experience bath bombs for the first time. Is, you know, live in an apartment with a teeny tiny bathtub that would not be suitable for bath bombs because, like, we don't fit in it. So we get to the mall, and also the Lego store was there. Spoiler alert, that's where I got this. But we get there, cannot find the Lush because it doesn't exist. It is a coming soon. Alright, and then, yeah, all these meet up. Looks like cornflowers and lavenders are our next set of flowers once we get the stems for this done. So yeah, just like check out the Lego store. I find this, and there's other stuff I probably. It was worse because both Lush's website and Google said it was open. Like, if I had seen on Google that the place was closed, it wouldn't have been so bad. But the fact that both of them said it was open, and it absolutely was not, was the worst. You know, it was, you know, you've been to a mall, and they're in the process of filling that store, so there's just plywood over the store. It was that situation where, you know, what should be Lush, which is covered by boards, essentially, or, you know, it's like a little, like, drywall thing that they put together, and then they can, it's, you know, take down again, but it also has a locked door, and it's covered with ads for the thing that's going to be there. But, like, if it's not open and you're still building it, don't put out a big thing saying that it's available. Don't put active hours for it to be open if it's not open. Google and Lush, both of you. Okay, so now we just got to. So yeah, Lego store was open. There's a lot of stuff that I saw that I liked. There was a couple things I was hoping to find that I didn't. Specifically, another one of these that's a dried flower bouquet. Although if I want to get that, Target has it. So there's it's like a dried flower centerpiece, like you'd put in the middle of your Thanksgiving table kind of thing, but Lego. Not a cornucopia, but you know. All right, there's one flower. Yeah, and there's this, but that's the center of these other flowers, so it wouldn't match. And at that point, it's 2 o'clock, which means it's 5 o'clock, and it was still 9 o'clock-ish when we had breakfast, and we didn't have time to grab a lunch at Seattle, so we're exhausted and we're hungry. Like, it's the kind of tired where you kind of feel drunk. As you're just so exhausted. All right, there's our first 3 sets of flowers, or flowers and leaves, by the way. Set them aside for now. And this piece, I guess, will go over there because it's not helpful to me right now. Okay, so I see the first one I dropped. It's way on the other side, so I'm not going to go for it. I don't see another one, though. So I don't know. The silly thing. Let's make sure it's not like in the chair. It's not. I'm sorry, it's just looking for that flower one more time before I move on. So I see where one of them is, but I don't see the other. It's annoying. It's so annoying to be missing a piece. Like, I feel like maybe there's one other time, possibly, that I've had a piece missing from a Lego set. Mega Constructs, that shit would happen. Lego, it's rare. I feel like in comparison. All right. We need 5 stems this time. No weird building stems this time. I actually exactly grabbed 5. Perfection. Also, on a side note, maybe my email is finally chilling out, but for some reason, all the crap that would normally be junk, at least most of it, has been getting sent to my inbox today. Like, why? Yeah, I mean, I harbor no ill will towards there's a piece missing. It's just surprising to me to see it happen from Lego. Usually they're, you know, your QA is usually a little better than that. Like 7 lawsuit emails. I get so many lawsuit emails, and it's usually like, my favorite are the like Lejeune, the like Camp Lejeune emails, because it's like, were you stationed at this email? Or at this email, are you stationed at this camp from before you were born to when you were 1 year old? No, weirdly enough. Weirdly enough, I was not at Camp Lejeune before I existed. So yeah, we were so exhausted that we're looking around this mall, and like there were other stuff on the way, and I think our original plan was to stop at a Chipotle, because we don't have Chipotle that often, although we did like a day or two before, just because we were out that way. We were going to stop at a Chipotle, but that's by the airport, and we were just so exhausted and trying to like get going with our day that we just drove past it. Oh, this is only a 1. Fantastic. We're just looking around this mall and we're like, screw it. This is here and it's food. We got Cheesecake Factory. Which is like, normally we've done 1 time ever because we don't have a Cheesecake Factory in Maine. We did it once in Boston. But like, totally wasn't our choice. Also, some of these pages are really blurry. Like, there's some print head errors on these pages. Oh, also I see some of these flowers are, there's just Lego heads, just painted brown. So yeah, I got a burger, and spoiler for the trip, and I hate saying this, but it's true. It was probably the most flavorful burger that I had in any place. And I had a few. I had like 3. But it was like, of any other burger that I had anywhere in Portland, the one that had the most flavor on the actual burger was fucking Cheesecake Factory. Because it actually had some salt and some pepper and some like char on the burger. Or else it was a very like grilled enough with like no seasoning on the actual meat kind of burger. A little disappointed, but and then Joe got a salad, and they're like, do you want the lunch portion or the dinner portion? And again, it's 2 in the afternoon there, but it's like 5 for us. We haven't eaten since lunch. So at that point, we're just like, no, just you know, she's like, no, dinner portion sounds great. And they're like, all right, cool. And she gets it, and it's like, you know, it's a fairly wide plate, but it's like this tall. It was the biggest salad I've ever seen. Like, to the point where they shouldn't call it a salad. Like, yeah, it's lettuce and some veg and then some chicken and stuff, but like to this degree, I feel like it shouldn't be called a salad. It's just way too much. Oh, there are more white rosettes in here. Maybe there's an extra one in this bag in 4. So yeah, Joe eats maybe like a third of that. Takes about a third home and leaves probably about a third on the plate. And we just go home and we just crash for the rest of the day. It was like 8 o'clock when I was finally like, I'm just gonna, like, you've had your salad. We don't have anything else dinner wise. Oh, we did stop for like snacks too at Fred Meyer, but like we were so exhausted that it was just like, I'm just gonna call I'm just getting Pizza Hut because it's something I know. I'm not going to call up Pizza Hut and then be disappointed. You know what I mean? Plus, like, where I am, we don't have a Pizza Hut that we can get anything from without having to, like, travel and then just have to reheat it. Or just, like, matter of fact, what was our Pizza Hut has been raised, and we're waiting on it to become a Chipotle and a Jersey Mike's. And then something else, there's another spot in that mall, but, they haven't, like, announced what it's going to be yet. Okay. I need one of these. I want these little, like, lily pad pieces. That is the opposite way of that. Like plants and stems coming off of those. Jersey Chipotle Hut. Well, the pizza's gone, and I can't imagine that they would put another Pizza Hut in that spot. Okay, this is... I'm assuming this is like pre-budded lavender, maybe? I don't know what this flower is. Or maybe it's pre-budded cornflower? Hard to tell. This is a wildflower. There. Very, very sharp and pointy one, so I wonder if it's the lavender. Okay. And then this is two of these. Two lavenders. So yeah, it was literally I just got a personal pan. A Taco Bell Pizza Hut. It could even be a weird situation because where I grew up in Bangor, there was an Arby's for the longest time, and then the owner decided to retire, and he decided that he didn't have an heir that wanted to take it, and I guess he didn't have any employees who thought he could handle it, so he just closed it. Like, it's like, I'm done and I'm not giving it to anyone. Bye. Closed. Maybe, you know better than I do, but maybe it's a situation like that. Who knows? But it was super weird. The dude just like pieced out. So yeah, that was day one, or technically day one in Portland. We didn't do anything really. We went to a mall and we crashed at our Airbnb, which was really nice. Our Airbnb is fantastic. There were some little oddities here and there, like, fairly artistically designed. It had a fire pit, but we ended up using it because we couldn't find any, like, there we go, any tools for like stoking the fire or anything. There were no like fire pokers or anything like that. And also, like, half the time we were there, we couldn't find firewood, and it turns out there was like a gas station less than half a mile from us that sold firewood right out front. Oh well. Like, Tubbott's great. It got really, really dark, which we don't, usually our room is a lot brighter than that, but it was fine. But then, like, he had a ton of, and I'm shocked he did this in an Airbnb, honestly, but like the shelf above the TV was full of vintage cameras, like fairly nice looking vintage cameras. I don't know why you would use that to decorate an Airbnb. Like, I'd be terrified that all that stuff would get stolen, but well, then this coffee table was just like a Goodyear Eagle racing tire with a glass top. So at times it was a little strange, and also, like, there was a lot of food in the cabinets, like random spices, and it more than I expected out of an Airbnb. It felt like staying in a stranger's house. Plus, it was like connected to another unit, and I had connected laundry. And our last day there, the laundry was taken, so we wanted to just have all of our clothes clean before we headed out, and couldn't do it. So, like, yeah, like half our clothes washed halfway through the week. Couldn't wash the other half of our clothes. And I think Joe did the same, but I just took all of the clothes since, they basically lingered in a suitcase for a day and a half. Just through all that, like the whole laundry in the all laundry in my suitcase into a hamper. Just I'll wash it later. So the next day, we found a lush. I want to say that one was Knob Hill, but I could be wrong on that one. We found a lush, and then we went to Powell City of Books. That's where I got all of the novels and graphic novels and the pin and the bookmark, obviously, because it was like a lush, the store. And that's a whole thing too. Not a lush Sony Furniture. I'm sure we found those lushes too, but we didn't and interact with them as far as we knew. Powell's is amazing, by the way. Like if you go to Portland, Oregon, go to Powell City of Books. I want to say it's Hawthorne Street. I could have that wrong, but it is an entire city block that is just a bookstore. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. It's an entire city block that is nothing but a bookstore. Okay, so it looks like these go on kind of sideways. And we didn't even see like the half of it, honestly. Like, we saw a good chunk, but someone told us near the end. Oh, there's one more thing I could have shown you that I forgot to grab because I showed off on the podcast. It's okay. Yeah, we found out there was like a whole room that's nothing but like old books that on one hand are locked up so they can't get stolen, but on the other hand are all for sale. So you can get like decades or I think over a century old books at the store. It's wild from what I hear. I did look for the point and click adventure, like coffee table book, the one from Bitmap Games. Didn't find it. Or Bitmap Books, rather. I need to pick that up someday because it's so up my alley. And then from Pals, we went to it's a toy store at Primo's Toys, because I heard that there were two like vintage toy stores in the area, like within very easy walking distance. There we go. Our lavenders so far. Oh, and then they each get another Lego head piece with a little flower on top. That's why there are still more flowers. There we go. That looks like that might be our completed lavender buds. Primo's was okay, but it was very like, oh yeah, these are done. Just stick them on stems and call it good. There we go. That's our lavender. Pardon me, geez. But it was all like 80s to today. I feel like the oldest stuff he had was like Ninja Turtles, which is like all right. I liked the Ninja Turtles. I don't have a huge connection to the Ninja Turtles. I'm not looking specifically for like Ninja Turtle toys. So I was like, it was kind of neat to look at, but dude was also like pricing real premium, to put it frankly. Like, I looked at a couple prices and we looked at all of his Funkos. It was a lot of like Funkos and very modern figures like Marvel Legends, and just kind of not what I was looking for, or at least looking to look at. And then I checked, he had some that were like, here's 2 figures for like $70, and he had an AEW Sting figure, which like AEW's only existed for like 3 years, and Sting wasn't there right at the beginning, so I feel like this toy is probably like 2 years old tops. I want $50 for it. These are $20 toys. Like, unless this is a chase or something, there's no reason this is fucking $50. Like, I cannot fathom why this thing would be $50. So Left that, we found another smaller store called Billy Galaxy. That one was more interesting to look at. That was all older stuff. That was all like old Star Trek toys and old Transformers, and again, he seemed to be priced more fairly, just higher than I would have wanted to pay. And I wound up not grabbing anything from there either. And I felt worse about that, but like the thing that caught my eye the most was he had a Game & Watch blackjack, like multi-screen Game & Watch. I was like, that's really neat. But also he wants $75 for it, and like you know, not to sound cheap, but like a Game & Watch is neat, but a Game & Watch is an LCD toy that does one thing, and or you know, it'll tell time too, but like, you know, it's just a little handheld blackjack game I'm mostly just gonna keep on my shelf. $75 is a lot of money for that, for me. Not saying he was pricing like he shouldn't have been pricing that. I'm just saying like more than I wanted to spend. So at that point, we just grabbed some lunch and we headed home. Joe was feeling kind of sore, so we didn't do a whole lot after that. I know we grabbed something for dinner, and I can't remember what the dinner was that night. Oh, that was the night we no, sorry, there's more to that night, because we chilled for a while, but then we went to Mount Tabor Park, and like it's right in suburban downtown. It's just you know, just like a mountain with beautiful views of the city, beautiful views of the sunset, which is what we did. Was we just kind of hung out and waited for sunset. So this needs 2 of these, but I'm doing 2 flowers, so I'm doing 4. That was one of my 2 favorite days, I think, of the entire trip. Was going up, like climbing around Mount Tabor, just taking in the sights, and then actually watching the sunset, which I feel like I've never just stopped to watch a sunset like that before, honestly. And it was beautiful, and it was totally worth it. It was totally worth all the walking around, just to like sit and watch the sunset and just like have this moment with Joe. So yeah, then we basically just chilled for the night. So same kind of pointy flowers as before. So I'm going to need a whole bunch of these. So it's 3 per. There's 6, 12 of them. And then 12 the other way. And then so that was Wednesday. Thursday, no, I'm sorry. Wednesday we flew in. So then Thursday was all of that stuff. Friday we met up with Firestar, one of the moderators over at Stumped, along with us. Had some brunch with them, and I can't remember her name, but a friend of hers, her name escapes me at the moment. We had brunch at Junior's Cafe, which was pretty good. My only complaint about that was I had bacon, and it was just like such a thick slab of bacon that wasn't like fully cooked. Or like, it was really crispy on the edges, but hadn't rendered out the fat in the middle, so it was just like crispy edges, but really chewy in the middle, like to the point where I was like, this could have been like, it almost tastes like jerky. Not like a bad way, but it was definitely just like not the texture I was looking for my bacon that morning. Okay, so then we do these the other way, so the grabbers on the outside. And then we went to Champagne Poetry, which was fantastic. I still have not tweeted out most of these things. I meant to do a tweet with a lot of these pictures, but it's also like, I've been thinking about it, and like alt texting all of those tweets is like a pain. So I haven't done it yet. Um, it's important. I will say it is important to alt text your tweets. So people who are using screen readers who may be hard of seeing could actually see your tweet and enjoy it as much as sighted people can. So I always try to alt tweet. If I forget to alt text, I will either delete the tweet and redo it, or I will do a follow-up tweet. Like, you can't alt text video if you or pictures probably if you tweet or if you post them directly from your Xbox. So I had a cool thing happen on my Xbox. I had to. There it is. I was like, man, the music went away. It's just trying to be inclusive best I can. But yeah, I got this totally gorgeous, like dark chocolate mousse cake that looked like a little pink rose, and I got a couple macarons, which were all right. Kind of, it was probably because they're refrigerated and they weren't super fresh, but like kind of denser than I expected. I feel like that's because I've never like had a macaron, but like the taste was good. They tasted really good. It was just like a denser texture than I was expecting. And then Joe wasn't feeling 100%, so we mostly chilled that night. That was not her birthday, so I cannot remember what dinner was that night. I feel like it was a delivery kind of thing or something. I can't remember what we did that night. Yeah, I think that was a delivery because it was a whole thing where we were staying was kind of hidden from the road a bit because we're staying in a house. We were staying in the back, so you like to get to our door, you had to like go through an archway. So I'm pretty sure that was one of the times where I had to like not chase down the driver, but I was like waiting for them. I can't remember what we had that night though. Whatever that meal was, Friday night is just like gone from my memory. Saturday night, which was Joe's birthday, that was when we went to Ground Control, which was a great arcade. I played a whole bunch of games. We only paid for like an hour of parking, which in hindsight, I wish we had paid for 2 hours of parking, but started that plosive. My apologies. That was right into the microphone. That was not the intent. Oops. That was my intent to break the flower. Okay, there's one of our flowers. Here's the other. Let me see. Joe and I played Third Strike. I won at Third Strike, and then I lost in like the second computer encounter. Like, I'm not amazing at Third Strike. I do okay. One of these gets this, and this, and this. What is this little purple flower? You're interesting. I miss putting you somewhere. There's one of our cornflowers. I just gotta slap together the other one. And then again, we wound up just like chilling at home for a while, and then Joe got Mexican that night for dinner, and me being a big baby with a terrible palate, I wound up having a burger from there and like that burger wasn't great. Oh, Mount Tabor was the day we also went to Frank's a lot, which was it was a great little like kind of like German style weird little hut. It was just an odd thing. So I'm just gonna flip back and see if I missed something. Because I feel like there are one, there's way more extras here than there were last time, and two, you sort of feel like I didn't use at all. Oh, okay. So actually, the lavender needed some of these. Oh, this is supposed to go on top of... No, there's just an extra. Okay. Maybe I will get lucky. But I was actually supposed to build the lavenders up a little bit. That explains it. Okay. I guess the rest of this is just an extra. But no extra little flower, which I needed. At least not in... pardon me. At least not in white. So I did Third Strike. I did Punch Out while Joe did Dr. Mario, which was a, in a way, was a make good from our Fun Spot trip on my birthday, because we went to Fun Spot. Joe loves Dr. Mario, and she wanted to play it in the arcade. And both days we went into the arcade at Fun Spot, someone was just parked on Dr. Mario the whole time. Just sat there and only played Dr. Mario. It was really annoying. This one's taking me a fair bit, actually. Like, compared to some of the others. Considering we're only 2 flowers in. Or, 2 bags in, I should say. We're just starting our 3rd bag. Yeah, so I played that. I finished that. I went on to I played that old Vector Star Wars game. And then in the meantime, I finished that. I caught up with Joe, who was playing Miss Pac-Man. But like they had like a turbo mod on this Miss Pac-Man, so she was just flying around the screen. It was kind of hilarious to watch. Okay, I'm looking for a cylindrical spacer. I'm not finding it. Like a hollow one. I also need to move the mic up a little bit because I'm going to keep bumping it with my fingers. And I apologize for any noises that just happened. Interesting. I think about that was about the time we saw a Killer Queen machine, which I haven't. Oh, here's one. Here's the other. Okay. I've never played the arcade. Killer Queen. I've seen it, but I've never actually like played the arcade version of Killer Queen. But it was also like there was only 2 of us, so it wouldn't have made sense for us to play this like 10-player game. Okay, I need to build out a couple of. Actually, I need to build 4 of these. I mean, they're easy, but which actually, fun fact: Killer Queen was one of the major inspirations for Fist of Discomfort in Arcade Spirits and Arcade Spirits New Challengers. So of course I took a picture and I sent it to Flower. Like, okay, I found a Killer Queen machine. But we did play the. Have y'all ever seen the electromechanical Pong? Where it's like, where instead of just digital, you're controlling like physical objects. And I mean, it's not super loose like, regular table tennis or like air hockey. They're being controlled, but like, it was really interesting. And that was honestly, when I looked up to find an arcade, that was one of the machines I really wanted to play, just because like I've seen them around and I've kind of seen the guts of them, because I know Xavier Woods had bought one and it was having problems. So he was like, he did a video or he did a stream just where he was trying to repair it. It controls harder than you'd think. And like it's a very stiff game, like unexpectedly stiff game, actually. So it was neat. It was worth a play, but I think it would occupy the same space in my brain as like Hercules. Of this is a cool thing. It's neat that this exists, but I don't know how often I would play it. I played it for the spectacle, and now I'm good. I don't need to play it again. But I mean, that also could just be because it's a, it's in a public space. Maybe people play the hell out of it. Who knows? Looks like these white ones are opposite these. I think we're probably going to be attaching all of these petals, which don't look like fireman helmets, honestly, or snails or something. I wonder what those pieces are supposed to be. I'm sure it's going to tell me, but I'm very curious what those are supposed to be. There we go. I love the way that they solve circles in these sets. Like, how do you make a three-dimensional circle with square pieces? Like the very spiky plant pot that the orchid sits in was such a cool solution to that problem, really. All right, we can make a couple more of these. Stop. They're trying to roll away on me. So yeah, I think ground control is about all we did Saturday, and then had chilled the house. Kept half an eye on Stumped, and then Joe got Mexican for dinner that night, and I think that was when she had her cheesecake, because she had gotten like a Basque cheesecake and a berry tart. What the heck was I doing? I didn't get a slice of that cheesecake. I don't know. Done for it. Yeah, I can't remember if I actually got a bite of that cheesecake or not. That was a bit about it for Saturday. Just Joe wasn't feeling her best, so there were some days where we totally could have gotten some stuff done that we just kind of didn't, and Joe felt terrible, but sometimes you're just not feeling up to it, and I totally understand. She's doing fine now, but so yeah, so then Sunday was our last full day. And also on Saturday, we talked with Enna about getting together for brunch. Enna being, what? No. Sorry. And then I was like, what are you doing tomorrow? And Joan mentioned like tomorrow was the day we were going to go to the coast. And I was like, cool, like we should get brunch. As far as we knew, Sunday we were getting brunch with Enna at a place called Gravy. Spoiler alert, fantastic place. So we get to Gravy and we message Enna like, hey, we're outside. Like we've got her name in, we're ready when you are. And I was like, wait, you meant today? It's like, yeah, you said tomorrow. Like, oh my God, I thought you meant Monday. It turned out like she knew we were going to the coast, so she wanted to, tell us Monday, but Monday is the day we were going back. So we kind of couldn't. At least not for brunch, because like our plane left at like 12:40, so I mean, I guess we could have. It just would have been. I mean, it would have been a breakfast more than a brunch, but and it's like, no, I'll be right there, and I'll call Jazz. So Jazz agreed to come. So we got to have brunch with Jazz and Enna right before they then spent the rest of their day playing Yakuza Like a Dragon to finish it, and I think they didn't stop playing that until like 2 or 3 in the morning. Because Like a Dragon Ishin came out for early adopters on Friday, so it's like we have to get this done before Ishin comes out, so we can just play Ishin and we don't have Like a Dragon like sitting over our heads, essentially. great breakfast. They had these hash browns, very crispy hash browns, but still very like soft in the middle, because they would just take like a, if I had to wager, oh, this is very uneven. Like, I don't know, like a 6 or 7 inch skillet, I'd have to guess. Probably like a 6-inch skillet. Just made the whole hash browns in that and just turned it out like that. So it was this perfect like disc of potato. It was so good. And like I had just gotten like the basic thing, like the, you know, pretty standard bacon, like regular cut, not super thick, just cooked exactly how I wanted it. Like toast was just like good bread. Like it was just a really satisfying meal, and something I was going to show you guys, and I showed on the podcast and I forgot to grab, was while we were having brunch. and like while we're doing this, Joe was like, I have a question. It might be kind of awkward. And I was like, oh no, what is it? Could you sign our copies? Because we have physical copies of Arcade Spirits and the New Challenge. He's like, yeah, no problem. I thought this was a problem. Like, no, we just want your autograph. But it's also kind of silly to ask for your autograph a little bit because we're friends. So yeah, my Switch copies of Arcade Spirits and New Challengers are signed by Anna, who is one of the writers of the game, which is super cool to have. And also, it's just nice to like sit and chill with, you know, with people we've been working with on Stumped stuff, and yeah, it was just a great little chance to hang out in a, you know, not just business, so to speak, kind of way, and just get to relax. And then it, you know, I don't think they wouldn't say that we were friends, but if it feels more like we're friends when we're just kind of sitting, chilling, and having a nice brunch. Like, it just feels more real than, oh no, these are our friends too. Like, also we you know, help them out on their channel, but also we're friends. And then from there we went to the beach, which was gorgeous. Like, the beach itself was beautiful, especially because we went to Cannon Beach, where there are huge rocks, like unlike anything we've seen on the East Coast. Like, Haystack Rock is worth beholding in person. But, you know, but also it was just like, if we're going to Oregon, one of the things I wanted to do more than anything was just see, and initially I wanted to put my feet into the Pacific, and forgot to bring a towel, so I put my hand in. But but it was, you know, it's just like, I just want to be able to say I did it. I just want to be able to say that I've been to the West Coast. I've touched the Pacific Ocean, because now I've swam in the Atlantic Ocean, and I've touched the Pacific Ocean. Like, that was one of my major goals for the trip personally, and I got to do it. So, but also just the drive was gorgeous, because it was through the mountains from Portland, Oregon. You know, I think we got up to about 1,600 feet before it started lowering down again, like to a point where we're kind of looking at, it's like, how are we going to get to the ocean? We're so high right now. Like, we're so high up. How does this lead to the coast? But like, on the way back, you could see Mount Hood, like off to one side on the highway. It was so beautiful. That is I have a feeling that would be, especially in the summer, that would be a pretty frequent trip if we lived in Portland, would just be to go drive out to Cannon Beach, if for nothing else, just to take in the drive and take in the site. And then that night was our other night where we got Frank's a lot. And that one wasn't as good, because the first night I got a Red Hot, and it was actually too hot, and I like didn't finish it. Like I actually like struggled to finish it. And then this one was like they didn't have much left because we went so close to close, which is our fault. But like maybe they would have had more if we had gone straight there from the beach. But you know, they had like a German sausage. It just wasn't as good. it still tasted all right, but it was not as good. Did I miss this step? I did. Okay. This top one also needs these on it. Because the thing was, not only was it a hot dog place, but any hot dog that they had, they would also let you turn into a corn dog. So it was just like, oh no. I would have so many corn dogs at this place if we lived here. Knowing I could literally just turn any hot dog on their menu into a corn dog. But yeah, also just like the fries weren't as good, and I would say the second trip wasn't as good as the first, but it was still, you know, it was still pretty good. So these purple ones are kind of a pain to put on because the thing I'm putting them onto is very wiggly. Knock all these things over. I had so long setting up. So yeah, and then Monday we started coming home. You know, I brought the car back, which was fine. Walking through Portland wasn't as bad. I don't know why it was less of a hassle to go through the airport that way than it was to go through the airport to the rental car area, but it was definitely less of a hassle to like coming back or like departing than it was arriving. We'd had a 3-hour flight to Minneapolis, St. Paul. Oh, and also like I had like my last burger was was in the airport at Burgerville, and like the burger was honestly nothing to write home about. It was just the same as like a McDonald's burger, honestly. Like it was the same sides and weight as like a McDonald's cheeseburger, like a standard McDonald's cheeseburger, but it was genuinely the best fries we had the entire trip. Okay, so the top two, this is interesting. Yeah, it also doesn't say what these were originally. These little like shells that are now the well, so they all point down. The little hole that's in them points down. Look like they're the base for something. Like there'd be a little flag or something that would stick into them, but I don't know exactly what they are. But it doesn't say what these pedal things are actually. So yeah, we stopped in Minnesota. We had like a two-hour plus layover, so Joe spent some time calling her new boyfriend because hey, we're poly. If you didn't know. We're poly, and she has found someone way better than the first guy that she had been seeing. I'm not afraid to say it. I did not like that other guy. He kind of a jerk. She found someone way better. I feel like I should edit that out, but I honestly was not a fan of that dude. And then we went to the Twins Cafe, the Minnesota Twins Cafe that's in the airport. And like, it was one of those, like, I wasn't super hungry, but I, you know, wanted something. So I ended up just getting like fried cheese curds. It was just the thing on the menu calling out to me, I guess. Which were pretty good. feels like I did this wrong. Because... No, maybe not. And Joe got like a wrap, and it was like, her wrap was fine, the fries were not great, but the cheese curds are pretty good, honestly. I mean, it's one of those, like, how do you mess this up kind of things. Like, how do you mess up fried cheese? All right, that's our next thing, which is beautiful. These colors are so good. I'm trying to remember what this is. Oh, this is lupin. Okay. It's okay. I'm sure there are people that I've seen that Joe was not a fan of either. But then we got another like 3 hours back to Boston. Stayed in. I honestly think we stayed in a nicer hotel on the way back rather than the airport hotel. We stayed in the Bostonian, and it was just nicer because it was actually like, it was a historical hotel. Like, it's by Faneuil Hall. I probably said that wrong. I don't care. It's just like, it's had the very like old school chart. Like, it was the looks wise was the kind of hotel you'd see in like a mystery movie or something. Just, very like, polished dark wood everywhere, and our room had exposed beams. We also had technically we had a balcony, but like, it was a balcony to an alley, so like, what was the point besides, I guess, if I really wanted to step out for just fresh air? All the fresh air you get in Boston, Massachusetts. Like, you can get fresh air in Massachusetts, but like in the city, it's not gonna be that fresh. And then we got room service, which was okay. It was neat to have, but a couple things. They never picked up our food, even though we called like an hour before we checked out. Like, when we left, it was still sitting on the ground, and there was housekeeping in the area, but like, I don't think it was housekeeping's job to take care of it. You know what I mean? Like, I think room service was specifically supposed to send someone to collect it, and they just didn't. So yeah, it was definitely weird. But also, I got like a waffle, and I know it took me a couple minutes to get started because I was like making sure like Joe's stuff was settled and stuff. But like, mine was room temp. Mine was pretty much cold. Oh, these actually sit at different heights. That's interesting. And it could always change how these are arranged as well, like shorten one stem, large, and large another. All right, those are lupins. Very, very pretty. I love the little ombre it has. So we're on our last bag, and maybe if we're lucky, one of these little flowers is extra. Let's see, 4. Larkspur and Gerbera Daisy. I have a feeling they're probably not going to be extra. Looks like we need a good fair amount of them. We'll see. Gerbera? I don't know which one's right. I do not claim to be a flower expert. I just like pretty things. So yeah, that's about it. The only other weirdness was just, I I guess they're working on signals on the train between Boston and Haverhill, Mass. So we didn't get a train from between Boston and Haverhill, Mass. We got a bus, and then one of these, which is nice. And then from there, we had to the bus took us to Haverhill Station, and then we got on the bus from there to up to my hometown, or at least the one next to it, because that's where the train station is. And then just caught an Uber home, which was its own heck of a thing, because I'm like waiting for Joe, because all of her stuff is by my feet, to get out of the restroom. Because somehow we got the fastest lift I've ever gotten. Especially like there, because it's not like a major city. Alright, also I'm going to need the last two, or three rather, of these. So we can pass through this bad boy. Okay. Alright, it's yellow. Get one of these. Which also gets a red. And then another green. Oops. Another yellow. Oh, I forgot to open this bag of 4. No, the last bag. Last bag. It means we're almost done. Although, goodness, it's like 3 o'clock already. This has definitely been the longest of the plants to take. I think it's just because we're doing each flower individually. It's not just like one big plant. Even sorry, I'm a little stuffy. Even the oh, another one of these. With finally the cap. I finally have found the top of this. Yeah, and then sorry, I'm train of thoughts going in many directions. If there's a thing I've forgotten you want to know about, just yell at me. Tell me in chat if there's a thing you wanted to hear about that I ran over and didn't finish talking about. Leave this one blank here. So yeah, we get the Uber, and then he's like, hey, pop the trunk for you, but I need the restroom now. It's like, no, you're cool. I mean, we made you wait for us, because my wife needed the bathroom. You go ahead. You do your business. You do what you need to do. Okay. So then one of these. So you might as well do all 3. Look at the blue on this. Which flower is this? The larkspur. Look at this cornflower blue. It's so good. It's not a cornflower, but oh, okay, I see. So yeah, that was the trip, and then we sat at home and we're sad. It's one of those, we were happy to be home and be back with our things, and be back in our bed and all of that, but it was also just I loved, we just loved Portland so much that knowing that we weren't there anymore, it's just oh. Oh, I did remember the meal I'd forgotten, which was that we got meatball subs from a local sandwich place. I cannot remember what the sandwich place was called. It's one of those, I could find it if I went and looked through my DoorDash history, but they're pretty good. They're pretty good. That's interesting. Or no, I'm sorry. I'm doing it wrong. These gets one of these in the middle to hold all those leaves in. And to give one. And then turn them all over. And then these get these. I'm hoping beyond hope that okay, so there's 3 here, 3 here. There might actually be an extra one in here, maybe. There's one in this flower. There, I don't think there's an extra. Shoot. Darn it. Which means, yeah, I think there just might be a missing one, or it fell at some point and I missed that it fell. It's one or the other. Alright, and then more or less do the same thing again after I put a strange little capper on this. Yeah, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like I need 5. Shoot. So yeah, I mean that, you know, it feels like I'm wrapping the chat up early and I'm running out of things to talk about. But that's what I was up to for the past like week or so. It was a really, really good vacation that I really needed. I think both of us needed it. A hard time, especially because this is. No, I think they're slightly askew from each other. Okay, now if I'm holding it like this, it goes this way. I guess it could go however it's a flower, but trying to be accurate. And then these, much the same, but they don't have the cool little extra petals. Maybe these ones aren't as bloomed as the other. Maybe they're just not as open. But yeah, it, honestly, part of the reason we went on that vacation was that Joe and I have been thinking for a fair bit that moving out to Portland sounded like a cool idea. And I'm not going to say that like anything is solidified at this point, but like there are no plans. But I think like that might end up being the life goal essentially. Like the goal going forward is to try to actually get out there. Because we, you know, a big part of this trip was just a vibe check for Portland in general. Like, do we think we could live out here? Do we think this is a place we would be happy? Essentially, I think so. I think we would be very happy out that way. So, I can't say for sure like anything's changing or anything like that, but I can say like it certainly passed the vibe check. I could definitely see us being out there. And it would suck, obviously, like being away from family and stuff, but at the same time, not spending my entire life in Maine would also be very nice. There's definitely a little bit of wanderlust, as they would say. And Joe was even asking, like, there's other travel you could do. What would you want to do? And it's like, I'm not sure beyond, like, Chicago would be neat. It would be neat to actually see Chicago. But, like, beyond that, I don't know. I don't know what else, what other, like, travel I would be itching to do. I'm confused by this. I'm confused as where this, is it here? Sticking in here? No, it looks like it's down here. So I'm looking at it like this. Then He wants to wedge this one in here. So confused right now. Trying to figure out what this thing wants. No, it's definitely the other way up. Apologize for the sniffing. I'm a little stuffy today. Okay, so. Come on. Okay, so this is how I'm holding it. Space through here. Well, it goes there. There's a higher one. Oh. It's here. And then goes here. Okay. So this is on a higher one. And then this is on a lower one. Got it. Okay. That was confusing. All right. So then here is our next flower, whose name I have forgotten. Larkspur, and then we have some Gerbera daisies, and that's our last flower. All of those got a blue one. Do I just have an extra blue, I wonder? So if I have an extra blue, I don't need anywhere. I might use that inside instead of the white, so I can use the white. Yeah, the whites are just covered. There's no reason I couldn't use this extra blue, so I have an extra white to fix one of these. So I'll do this, actually. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab that other one that fell over. Because I have extras of colors where they don't matter because they're hidden. So, yep, there's that one. I'm under here. I don't see the other one. I don't know if it's just like not included or not. I don't know. But we can fix those first flowers now, so they will be complete. All right, Gerbera daisies, our final flower. Because technically there's two, because there's a purple one and an orange one. Also, my back's getting sore after that crawling. Okay, so put this in here. Use the blue one on here. And slide that entire thing into the middle of this. Maybe, there we go. Making it center of our flower. Okay. Who's ready for more tedium? I can tell if there's a rhyme or rhythm to putting these on. Doesn't seem like there is. There's like, sometimes it's two in a row facing the same direction, sometimes they're facing the other way, so I just kind of, however I want, I suppose. One last tedious job. Oh, also, for the, that's strange. I'm missing a spacer? It seems like this needs some space for all the claws. Yeah. Odd. Okay. Also, the bath bomb's totally worth it. Well, one of them for me was totally worth it. One of them was fun, but also might have left a stain. Maybe like a little bit of a stain, not much. And then one that like Joe got and it was her first, and I think she really liked it. I couldn't pick up the smell of it for some reason. Like it was fun and it was fizzy and like it was fun to interact with, but it wasn't like, I don't know, it just didn't pick up the scent. Like the first one I tried, which was some sort of hippie something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think the color didn't wind up being amazing, but like it was like the best smelling. And then there was another one that was very like lavender, like deep sleep based. And I think I slept great that night. And it also turned everything like the smell wasn't super strong, but it also turned the entire tub, or not, it didn't like dye the tub, but turned all the water like grape Kool-Aid purple. Some of these go in a different way, so it's not quite so obvious that I'm just doing the same thing over and over. But yeah, that was the trip. It was totally worth it. There were people I wish we could have. I wish we could have seen more of Stumps, but you know, I know like at least Price, if not Price and Chrissy, I know had gone to Seattle for the weekend, so you know we just happened to miss them. We thought about doing it actually, and it's if we had planned more in advance to like have an Airbnb in Seattle that night, I think or a hotel room, I think we would have been more inclined, because there was a Defy wrestling show that weekend that would have been really neat to go to, and we would have gotten to see at least a couple of friends that are in Seattle area, plus Bryce who's in Portland area. But it was just the thought of the show not getting out until like 10 or 11 at night and then having to drive 3 hours back to Portland was just like, no. No, thank you. So it's one of those things we would have done if we had planned it better. But, you know, again, then Joe wasn't feeling that great, so it probably worked out in the end that we didn't go. Plus, the other stuff we could have done different, because one of the other things I'd forgotten to talk about was I watch toy hunting vlogs from Ethan Page, and one thing I took from them was that we, you know, including this, bought a bunch of souvenirs that didn't fit in our bags, as we just went carry-on only. We didn't want to check anything, just to make the process on every end faster, especially like we didn't get back into Boston coming back until like midnight, so we wanted to make that process as quick as possible for sure, and not have to wait an extra like hour and a half for a checked bag. So we didn't have enough room for everything, because, you know, you're allowed, at least on Delta, you're allowed a carry-on and a personal item, which for me was my laptop bag and for Joe was a purse. Didn't have room for this stuff, so we just, rather than like buy a suitcase to bring it back, we just went to EPS store and just shipped it back to ourselves. So, you know, we didn't get this stuff till Friday, hence why I didn't stream it at all last week. But yeah, you know, shipping arrived fine. Like trying to figure out exactly like what angle I want everything to be at here, because everything's in here a little strange. Trying to be like very careful with this flower and you know, style it as perfectly as possible. There's our inside of our first Grabera daisy. That's the orangey one. And this just gets a stem. Grabera daisy. Do it all again. Do it all again. And this is the last flower, guys. So Thank you so much for everybody who's tuned in. Thank you for the resub earlier, Jimbo. Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone who's hanging out and chatting or just lurking. I will try this week to get back to Quest for the Mask. I have not forgotten about it. I promise. I know we still have we still have 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 to do. We're not even quite halfway done. But thankfully, this is the last King's Quest where I have to talk a lot during. I will have some respite in the next one because 5 on, I'll have voice acting. Which is such a relief for my voice, and I know I've been a little more relaxed on it, but I still tend to read most of the text boxes when I do a Sierra game. Even though I have I'm loath to say archival versions, but they're the closest to my archival versions already on Twitch. I need to start pulling those actually to put on YouTube, and actually I need to pull these Lego videos for YouTube as well. Like the last few that I've done. But yeah, I need to get started because 4 honestly is one of my favorites. It's spoilers for the stream, I guess, but I honestly adore King's Quest 4. So the opportunity to stream that for y'all is going to be a lot of fun. And then 5, which I would say I trend more positively on 5 now. It's definitely weird, but I think if you just kind of take its weirdness at face value and just accept that it's a weird game, then it's more fun, you know? It is definitely one of the stranger ones. I feel like 7 might also be right there for strangeness. But it's 5 is fun. It definitely has some frustrating bits, but it's fun. And then 6 again is one of my favorites. 7 is right there with 5 in that it's this is a weird one. I think the other part with 7 is it's so long. It is such a long game. Almost done, guys. And it's just after 3, so this took me 2 hours, I want to say. How long have I been streaming, technically? Just over 2 hours. Factor in the countdown time and all the chat stuff. Yeah, I'd say an hour and a half to almost 2 hours. That's a pretty hefty, like I said, honestly, for just flowers. Okay, and style again. Oh, and slap in the center so you can't see that flower at all, or the little flower piece just has a connector. What? A stem and a stem. And there's our Archibera daisies. And that's it. Let me start laying all these out and moving these extra pieces, because as always, I will throw these extra pieces into a Ziploc baggie. Kind of odd to hold, honestly. Yeah, it's kind of strange. It's going to be easier probably to lay them out. I was going to hold them for you, but They hold so weird. When I figure out what I'm going to do for a vase for these, I will send a picture. I'll probably put it in my Discord. I will tweet it out. But for now, let's just kind of lay all these flowers out to show you before we try and do some flower styling later somewhere else. All right, and let's actually wrap this up by finishing these. Where are our empty stems? Here's one. Give you your little white bud here. You'll cooperate with me. There we go. This one's now done. And where's your empty? There's your empty. It would have bothered me if I had empty ones. You know, that like one of them is okay. That is gone again. I don't know where that went. I go under the book. Whoop, no, I'm knocking everything else over. I will figure it out later. So I don't know where oh, there it is. If I find another one of these flowers, I'll be shocked. Please. Pretty please. Just slide on. Okay. So we have some room over here. I can spread these out a little more. So yeah, there is our little family of wildflowers. This was a lot of fun. It was a very tedious build as well, but that's, I think that's the nature of flowers. But a very fun build, and again, I got another teal brick separator, which I always appreciate. I really like the teal over the orange, but I'm generally a cool colors guy anyway, so from here, at least for me, I'm going to be going off to I made Jo a chicken noodle soup so she can grab it for lunches. Actually, it's chicken soup. And then I have to wash out the pan so we can fill it instead of with noodles. She can just take some rice. Because if I cook noodles in that broth, it tends to also, I think my email has finally settled the fuck down. It just absorbs all the broth. Like, I'll get it and it'll just be like completely gone. Which I'm sure makes for some very, very flavorful noodles, but like that's not what a chicken noodle soup is. You need the broth. So yeah, this has been the Lego build. If you're watching this later on YouTube, because I do upload I've been uploading all my Lego videos onto YouTube and some other VODs I really like Fire Arcade Spirits playthroughs. If you're checking this out on YouTube, we're gonna say goodbye here. So have a go on YouTube. Thanks for watching some more flowers.